My name is Karen Ackerman, and I grew up in the Seattle area. I really knew that there was a problem with the way that SHARE managed their homeless encampments when I started learning and hearing all of these experiences that their residents had had in their tent city. SHARE runs many of the homeless encampments in our area, including tent cities and also the shack shelters that they have. They also have a connection with some of the indoor shelters that we have in the city. And they get a lot of the funding from the city of Seattle. I helped set up a haircutting event where we helped the residents of the camp get the haircut so that they would be presentable and be able to maybe go to apply for jobs. In that process, I discovered met this one girl, a young woman. She was maybe in her early 30s, and she had children who she had left in North Carolina. She had been in the homeless camp for quite a while. She did not feel safe, and because of that, she had connected herself with a man there that was not good to her, and so I was trying to help her get out of that situation. Now, when she moved away from SHARE, those residents now in this new encampment were given the ability to talk to community members that wanted to help, and that's how I was able to help her. The problem with the encampments is that the managers of the camp, and SHARE was really one of the worst perpetrators of this, would not allow their residents in the tent cities to look for help. They were not allowed to talk to the churches that sponsored the tent cities. They were discouraged from talking to people who would come to help at the camps. Other instances where I saw people who were told that instead of going to a job that they had lined up, they had to come and do their security shift at the homeless shelter, or else they would lose the ability to have any type of shelter in the Seattle area. I worked with one girl, her name was Brittany, and she had lived in the tent cities. She was pregnant, and she was 8 months pregnant. She was actually in the hospital on bed rest, and she was barred from being in the tent city, ever being able to have shelter again from one of the SHARE encampments, either an indoor shelter or an outdoor shelter. It didn't matter. She would be barred from being able to have shelter if she did not come back to the camp and do her security shift. And so being in the hospital was not an excuse for not doing her shift. These were some of the crazy things that happened in the shelters there. It just didn't make sense. That's when I knew that SHARE was not a good steward of the money. They're taking money to help the homeless, but it's not helping the homeless. And that was very frustrating to me. And a nonprofit organization that is running the majority of our homeless communities here in the Seattle area, these are some of the results that we have from the ways that they are running their organizations. There are some great organizations that are working right now, and some other nonprofit organizations. I'm thinking about the United Gospel Mission, for instance. The city of Seattle should be working with those type of organizations instead of the one that they've chosen to manage their homeless situation.